Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for joining our webinar today. Clean Data Powers MDM Success with Melissa and Talend Open Studio for Data Integration. I'm Abby Talaria from Melissa, and joining me today are our data quality analysts, Joseph Vertito and John DeMatteo. We'll go over how you can easily clean your data using our tools within the Talend Open Studio data integration platform and see a live demo to boot. Before we get started, I want to encourage everyone to submit questions. You can type those in at any time during the presentation and towards the end of the webinar. We'll answer as many questions as we can, but if we aren't able to get to your question, Joseph and John will be happy to answer offline. This webinar will also be recorded, so if you miss anything or want to forward to someone, you'll be able to do so. So I'm going to get this started. I'll pass over the mic to Joseph. Joseph?
Thank you so much, Abby. Again, my name is Joseph Vertito. Welcome to the Talent and Melissa webinar. Uh, I am the Product Development Manager and Data Quality Analyst at Melissa Data, and I also have John DiMatteo here with me, who is a programmer slash engineer slash one of our QA analysts. Uh, and today we will discuss the integration that Melissa has done within the Talend Open Studio for data integration, which is something very exciting and very new for us. This is actually the first time that we'll be releasing a plugin within the data integration platform in Talend. So we're excited to announce it. We're excited to show you what we've got, what we've done. Later on, there will be a demo. For now, we'll go through a few slides discussing, what Talend is, what Melissa is, just as a brief introduction, in case you guys aren't aware of who Melissa is, who Talend is. So we'll go through a few of those. So Talend actually offers a lot of different solutions. Um, they have what you call the data fabric platform, which offers so many different kinds of solutions, and this is like more of like their commercial software. And of course you have, more importantly, the open studio solutions, where you get things like the data integration platform, the big data platform, data quality and master data management, NESB, and so on. So just to kind of give you a brief idea of the kind of capabilities that they can do with data, and these are pretty standard when it comes to data governance and master data management. So what we want to focus on today is actually their data integration platform, and this is where Melissa has been able to integrate our solutions for data quality. And again, we'll see a demo of that later on and what the features are. But just to kind of give you a brief introduction of what Talend Open Studio for data integration does, it does a lot of what other data integration platforms do. Like if you're familiar with, for example, SQL Server Integration Services, or maybe even Pentaho Data Integration. So it does a lot of the ETL features that are available to that. Things like file management for opening different types of files, opening, moving, compressing, decompressing things. uh, we've got uh, so we just someone came in with a question right now saying that there's no sound. um, if you guys aren't hearing anything, please let me know, say something in the chat. But if you guys are good, um, I think we can proceed. But just to make sure, hopefully everyone is hearing me right now. Okay, so again, back to TOS for data integration. We This platform is able to control and orchestrate data flows. Uh, and data integrations with master jobs. It's able to map out, do aggregations, do sorting, do enrichment, do all sorts of merging of data. And again, these are pretty standard when it comes to data integration platforms. It has all sorts of connectors, pretty standard, connectors to Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, Salesforce, NetSuite, SAP, even Microsoft Dynamics. And then it also has one of the good things about this platform is that it's Eclipse based. So a lot of you who are familiar with a lot of the other Eclipse based software out there, it will have the look and feel of Eclipse in the job designer. So very Java centric, Java oriented. And who is Melissa? Well, Melissa is one of the leaders in data quality solutions. We've been in business for over 30 years. We have a lot of experience when it comes to data quality, and we've gathered so much data over time in all that 30 years. Um, we've gathered all sorts of information from different companies, from our third party providers, and we've used this all of this information, all of this data to be able to create our data quality solutions. Most of it are reference data driven solutions for example, for address verification, identity resolution, and things like that. So we'll see some of these again later on. And now we're a global company. We've expanded so much. We have offices in Europe, in Asia, Australia, and multiple office locations here in the U.S. as well. So before we proceed, I actually want to give everyone just kind of our definition of what data quality is as a whole. This is what I'd like to call the data quality cycle. So what the cycle entails is that first and foremost, you get a bunch of input data, which is pretty standard. So you have all of this information, and what do you want to do with it? Well, the first thing that you want to do with it, as you can see here, step one, you get all that information. The first thing you want to do is you want to profile that data. Why? Because you want to learn what's going on with the information that you have. Profiling, quite simply, means is that you're able to gather metadata, which is information about your data, and that allows you to learn more about what the problems are, how many gaps or holes do you have in your database, how many are invalid, how many are valid. So profiling lets you know right off the bat what the problems are, and then and that's actually the first thing you want to do before you actually cleanse and standardize. So cleansing and standardization comes in right after you know what the problems are. And this is important because you're not going to know what to cleanse if you know what the problems are in the first place. So know the problem, and then you clean, and then you standardize, and then you use you do what you call checking and verification. And checking and verification, this is driven a lot by what I just mentioned a while ago, which is making use of a lot of the reference data sets on the back end. Say for example, you want to be able to verify addresses. Um, you make use of the USPS data, for example, in order to be able to verify addresses, or you use the government census data to be able to figure out if names are good, etc. So, checking and verification again is very important when it comes to uh, you know uh, evaluating the quality of your data or being able to clean data. You don't want any bad data in there, so that's one of the things you want to get rid of. And of course, enrichment and updating, again, a very reference data centric solution, where you're able to append missing information. For example, you want to append phone numbers to your data, or you want to append demographics to your data, like age, date of birth, marital status. And then of course you want to update that information. I want to get the latest phone number for this individual, his latest email address, or even his latest address. This is what enrichment and updating is, and this is also part of what we consider for having good data quality overall. And then after you enrich and update your data, of course, you want to be able to deduplicate that and merge and consolidate information. Fuzzy matching is a big thing because uh, one of the things that people tend to overlook when it comes to data quality and having good clean data is that it's very important to have only a single version of the truth for an individual or a specific record. So every entity should only exist once in your database, and that entity needs to be complete, it needs to be unique. So being able to employ the steps in order to consolidate all the information that you have, I mean, you're not going to have just one data set, you're going to have multiple data sets across different servers, and you want to be able to consolidate that in your master data. So merging and consolidation and being able to fuzzy match those records again is a very important aspect of data quality. And of course, last but certainly not the least, you want to be able to monitor all of that information. And the important thing about to know about data quality is that it's an ongoing and continuous process. It's all data is always moving, it's always changing, and data becomes stale over time. The data that you have 10 years ago is not going to be as good as it is now. Even if it was perfect before, it's not going to be perfect now. People move, people change information, etc., etc. So monitor the information, keep getting or keep monitoring what the new problems are, and you want to be able to employ all of these over and over again and continue the data quality process over time. So this is, of course, certainly an ongoing thing. Um, but what we want to focus here is what I've highlighted regarding the Talend Open Studio for data integration and Melissa integration. These are the three steps that we really bring to the table, which is the cleansing and standardization, the checking and verification, and the enrichment and update of information through our Personator API. This is what we've integrated from within Talend. And what Personator does, in summary, is that it allows you to to do the cleansing and the correction of information, all the standardization, parsing in for formatting, abbreviations, correcting misspellings for contact data, including phone numbers, addresses, emails, and names. We're able to correct all of that information, clean it, and confirm that the information is good. So we know that the phone numbers are callable, addresses are mailable, names are a part of the census information, etc. And then Personator is also able to do what we call the verification. Um, Aside from verifying that the addresses is deliverable or the phone number is callable, we want to verify that the entire contact information is good as a whole. So that's what Personator really brings to the table and elevates the level of data quality that you're able to perform for your records. So we know that that name and that email and that phone number and address all correlate with each other, which is a big thing when it comes to data quality. And then we're able to append missing information. If you're missing the phone number for a person, we can append that. If you want to get, again, demographics, that's all part of this API, which we've integrated within Talend. So appending demographics, date of birth, date of death, do they have children? Are there seniors in the home? Ethnicity, income, so much information that you can get out of this API. And then, of course, last but certainly not the least, move information. So we can give you the latest address for an individual, and this goes back up to 14 years ago. So if you have an address for a person, 10 years ago, we can chain all of his moves and give you the latest address for that individual. So really, really good stuff with this API that we've integrated into Talend. And to kind of give you a brief overview of how it kind of works. So, just like any ETL platform, you get all this information as your input. It goes through the Personator plugin from within Talend, and then you get all of the good data back, all the quality data back. So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 in 3 steps. Input data, the transformation for running through our Personator plugin, and then getting the output, and loading that information in the desired platform or database. So um, and just to kind of briefly, before we go into the actual demo, I want to stress out the information of what it means to have good quality data. And of course, it allows us to have better relationships overall. If we want to do marketing strategies, marketing segmentation, it prevents us to have out of date information and really have accurate info about our customers, who they are, and what their interests are. It allows us to have very accurate analysis. And a lot of people do business intelligence, they do reporting after with all of this data. So it's important to gather only the correct and accurate information so that we were able to provide accurate statistics about that data, and ultimately allows us to plan better for the future. And of course, a lot of you DBAs out there, if any of you are DBAs, um, we're able to remove all the inconsistencies and standardize everything according to a certain format. So that really makes your life easy and corrects all the bad information and does a standardization for you and saves you time overall from having to manually clean all of this information. And of course, last but certainly not least, improves resource management. Overall, the reduction of operating costs through the efficiency and ease of implementation of things, all the way from marketing, from the analysis part of it, from the management of the data. What we here at Melissa Data believe in is that data quality should, it shouldn't cost you more than it should save you. So really, we focus on the return of investment of being able to perform data quality. And with that, I would like to hand over the mic to John DiMatteo, who's going to show you what we've done exactly for Talent and go through the demo of the platform and our integration of the Personator API integration from within the Talent the integration platform. John?
All right, thank you so much, Joseph. Well, that was a really good introduction there. So now I'd like to go ahead and show you guys exactly what it looks like when we integrate with Talend. So I'm assuming most of you guys are familiar with Talend. Very, it's got a very, oh, excuse me, I think we're having a technical issue here. Okay, here we go. Simple input file, a name, company, address lines, city, state, zip, email, and phone. So this is pretty much the most information we're going to need. You can add some more information, but for the most part, Person Editor doesn't really need much more than this to get quality information back. So we have our component here, and one of the nice things about our component that we keep hearing from our clients is that it is very easy to integrate. And a lot of Talend components, you're going to have to require a multitude of different mappings and strategies just to get the data in. And here, all we need is just one row of input, and you can see here where we map our input data to our actual components and information here. So we're mapping our first name field, our company, our address lines, and then once we get that set up, we have our output here. So our output is just going to be a standard Excel file. As many of you know, Talend is the strength is the connectors. So you could have this literally from a big data to big data, flat file to flat file, however you really want. Just for simplicity's sake, today we're going to be using Excel though. So I'd like to drill down a little bit into the component and exactly what it does here. So as Joseph said, our main strengths here are appending information. That's my personal favorite feature of this product, because this is where we get things like if we didn't have a complete address, we're able to actually add information to that to make it more complete. And this, I don't have time to go into this in very much detail, but if you would like, we can look at that later. But this is our most powerful feature in my mind. Then we can also verify the information here based on certain criteria that we can set later, just to make sure the address is good or not. And then obviously move, which is very important for if any of you handle bulk mailing, you know how important it is to make sure you get the bottom dollar for your money. So this will help you make sure that the address is correct and you're not getting any return letters. So next here we have our input mapping. As I said before, we need to know where our input is coming from and where it's going to in the actual component here. Very, very standard stuff. So here we have map phone, mapping it to phone number, email to email, zip, postal code. If you've used any of our products before, this should look fairly similar. Now, next going on forward, we have our output groups, and this is really where you start to see the nitty gritty of the details here. Each of these options here will allow you to see a lot of information coming through from our software. You can choose as much or as little as you want. For this demo, it may be a little overwhelming, but I've chose to show all of the information that we're capable of returning. So that includes address details, zip code information, private mailbox suites, census data, geocoding, which is latitude, longitude, demographics, name parsing, address, email, and phone parsing as well. And that's all really for the options here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a little run here. And we only have 20 records. So I'll go ahead and show you what the input data looks like that we're just sending in here, just so you can see. So these aren't all perfect records, as most of you expect your data to be. So we can see here that the first record here, we're missing trailing street type, and also there's no city here. So we're going to attempt to locate that with our software here. Also, you can see here, we don't have standardized casing for the next record, and the street name is actually incorrect. So the third one here, you can see this email address actually has some extra characters at the end, and we're going to try to clean that up as well. So this is just kind of like a little example of what your data might look like if it's coming into our service. Of course, we'd like to have it perfect, but that's not always the case. So standard Talend, we're just connecting our components with our input and our output, and we're going to go ahead and run the job here. And this should be a fairly quick process here. Okay, so here we are. We're loading our data into our component, sending it off to our web service, and we got the data back here into our Excel file. So let's go ahead and open that up and take a look at what the data looks like here. So, and as I said before, we had selected all of the options so that we can get a lot of data back, just to show you guys the full capabilities of this product here. And you can see it might look a little overwhelming, but we actually get a lot of data back here for these. So on the first one, if you remember, we didn't have the actual trailing type, the street, and we actually did not have the city. So if we go over here, we can see we were able to get the city name here and find that information there. So one of the most important features of our product, and maybe the most boring, but if you're a programmer or any of your engineers are looking at this, that this is going to be what they want to take a look at here. So these are our result codes, and these may seem a little overwhelming at first, but this tells you exactly what happened here. For instance, our AC codes tell us that this address, we actually changed the locality. And if you remember from the input, we were missing the city from the first record. So we didn't actually know what that was. And so what Personator is telling us now is that it has actually found the city and it's appended it to the record. We've also been able to determine the thoroughfare type, and we've also verified the address down to the street level, which means it is in fact a good address. We also determined that there is no email delivery option for the email that was provided, and we were also able to geocode the result and pick out a few names out of the results here, which you can see here. I'll just go ahead and show you guys that real quick. So this is kind of cool. One of my other favorite features here is we were able to determine that there was actually two separate names in the address that was provided. So we found that Jack and Jill, both with the name Hill, were located in this record, and we were able to determine that, okay, so Mr. Jack Hill Jr. and Mrs. Jill Hill Jr. live at this address. And then you can see data such as the demographics. They have children present, their school district, which is not populated for this particular record, and then all sorts of other good information here. And we could go over this all day and spend hours and hours going over each and every single result and what they mean, but this is the sort of thing you're looking for when you want to enhance your data. So with that said, I'll turn it back over to Joseph, and thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Kind of before we wrap up here, um, I want to share with you guys some of our future plans for Talend, and I know that we are just now starting to release some of our integrations for the platform, and we plan to have much more features later on. So these are things to look forward to maybe by the end of the year and all throughout 2018. Melissa had so many solutions, and hopefully, some of the things that we're able to bring to the table will include, global address verification. We're actually able to do address verification for over 240 countries and territories, and do all the standardization of those international addresses, and even do transliteration, and accommodate different languages and character sets. Premium verification, which includes things like email mailbox level validation and phone number, the actual phone number resolution. So these are very, very premium and powerful APIs that actually, verifies the actual email at the mailbox level and does what we call HLR lookup technology for mobile devices. So we know whether a mobile device is online, offline. Um, of course, global matching. Uh, we hope to bring that to the table. Being able to consolidate and deduplicate records, as I've said a while ago, very, very important when it comes to data quality. And then maybe global identity in the future. Again, what Personator does is it's able to verify the identity of people. That the email is resolved to the address, to the name, and to the phone number, and we can also do that at a global scale with our global identity solution. So hopefully we can bring all these solutions out through our timeline in the future. We hope that there's interest in it. We hope that you guys will try these solutions out. We offer demos for everything, and in fact, by email here, I posted it on the screen in case you want to get more information. And if you want to try out this component, the download is here on the screen. It's on our FTP site. We'll send this information as well in the recording of this in case any of you want to get this. But go to ftp.melissdata.com/updates/dqc underscore talent underscore 2017.zip. This will have a zip file of the components of the plugin for Talend, and there will be a README file that gives you step-by-step instructions of how to install this new Melissa plugin uh, in the data integration platform. So it's really easy, and in fact, Talend provides an easy way to be able to install third-party binaries. So download the files, follow the README, and then install it within Talend, and you're good to go. And basically, we can give you the demo license for these, and so that you can try out these solutions. So, I think with that, we'll be taking questions. Abby has a few more things to say.
Thank you, Joseph. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A section of the webinar. So if you have any questions, please type them in now. I want to remind you that I'll be sending out a link to a recording of today's webinar. You should expect to receive that via email tomorrow. We have one question here. It's very much like the parsing program I make using MS Access.
Yeah, I mean, not so much a question, but more of a comment from Robert. Yeah, it's parsing in Microsoft Access. I'm not sure who you're using now for parsing your data in Access. I think they might have some built-in functionality in there, but um, you know you can actually get that data. There's a way, there should be a way to extract data from Access. If you want to run it through any of our stuff, if you're using Talend, you can actually do that. So extract the information from Access that you're using and then load it into our APIs. And as you can see, like, our program does a lot more than just the parsing. So parsing is just one piece of the puzzle. There's standardization, there's appending information, there's correction, standardization, verification. So much going on with data quality. So um,
Another question from Robert. So we can send an address list and get the emails to the customers?
yes, that's correct. If you have the address, if you have addresses, we can actually append email addresses off of that. So preferably emails. You got to remember these resolve down to a name and not an address, because there's multiple people can live in one address. So as as much as possible, you want to resolve that using a name and an address. And if you give those two information, we can get the specific email for that person. But if you don't have the name and if you just have the address, we can append. We will append the most dominant name for that address and their most dominant email and their most dominant phone number for that. If you just have the address, so yes, we can do that.
Okay, another question from Charles. Is there SDK for this service?
Um, just to clarify, what we've seen here is, uh, maybe I should go back to John's screen here 1 second. So I want to clarify what we're seeing here. What we see on the screen is the Talent Open Studio for data integration, as we see up here. Okay, uh, hold on 1 second. We just for data integration. This is Talent's platform. Okay, and what we provide is this T-Personator component, and this is coming from Melissa. This is an API. This is basically a plugin that calls our API. It calls our web service. So everything here is from Talend, and the only thing that Melissa has done is this component here. So when you install our stuff from within Talend, you get this plugin that allows you to process your to process files from within the Talend Open Studio for the integration platform. That's a long name. Um, and pass it through our Personator web service API. So this is kind of what we're seeing here, in case it wasn't clear as to what was going on. So um, for those of you who are using Talend, you'll be very familiar with what you're seeing here and what this plugin is. For those of you who don't use Talend right now, we've got other types of solutions for you. We have our own software. If uh, Essentially, it's all about the cleaning of the data, running data through our APIs so that you can do all the check verification, appending and updating of your data. So we're not limited to just what we're seeing here. If you need to have, I mean, we have plugins for Excel, we have plugins for SQL Server, we have plugins for programmers like we have .NET, we support .NET, we support Java, etc. So there's a lot of ways you can access this information and make use of our solutions.
Oh, wait, one more second for any more additional questions. Okay, another question coming in from Robert. So if I went to potential CX and offered a service to take their data and build for them an email list, I could use you to acquire that email data, acting as a middleman?
Well, this is kind of more of a sales question now rather than a technical question. Um, in summary, yes, but we'll have to discuss the details of that offline if that is of interest. So um, let's talk about that offline, I believe. That should be more appropriate. Robert.
All right. Oh yeah, CX equals customer. Got it. Um, wait one more second. Okay, it looks like that's all the time we have right now. If you submitted a question that did not get answered, please contact Joseph via email. His pop it up right here. Today. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye.